Madame Anand, qu'est-ce qui a pris tant de temps que ça? Qu'est-ce qu'il y avait sur la table?
Oh mon Dieu, beaucoup de choses, beaucoup de dossiers importants pour moi, comme une ministre de 2 dossiers par exemple, beaucoup de travail à faire. Donc nous avons discuté les différents dossiers, notre travail dans l'avenir et on va continuer. Donc j'ai seulement 5 minutes pour manger.
Avez-vous l'impression que M. Trudeau va rester?
Liberal members of caucus to be able to express their concerns or their feelings about the Liberal leadership and the state of the party?
It's very important, and we are going to have that conversation tomorrow and ongoing, because we are a party of big ideas and many ideas, and we need to continue to have that forum for that conversation, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Donc avec ça, merci beaucoup tout le monde.
Les rebelles, les mutins, appelez-les comme ça. C'est fini ça ou ça continue?
Les quoi?
Les mutins, les frondeurs, les rebelles.
Vous parlez de la lettre fantôme?
Oui, oui, c'est ça. C'est fini, là?
Je sais pas. Moi, je l'appelle la lettre fantôme, je l'ai pas vue.
Il y a des gens qui ont des vraies préoccupations, là.
Mais il y a des gens qui ont été appelés pour signer. Moi, il n'y a personne qui m'a appelé pour signer une lettre. C'est toujours une lettre fantôme.
Pourquoi vous pensez qu'ils vous ont pas parlé?
Probablement parce que je suis déjà en train de soutenir le premier ministre puis je fais la plateforme, donc je travaille là-dessus.
Mais est-ce que vous comprenez leurs préoccupations quand même?
Mais
il y a
ils
des
n'en parlent
sièges
pas.
qui sont en jeu.
Non, ils n'ont pas. Je sais pas c'est qui, puis il n'y a pas personne qui a parlé encore.
Non, mais on sait, sans avoir à parler, on sait qu'il y a des
Vous
sièges
avez
qui
parlé
sont
à des
en
gens.
danger.
Ça, on sait que... Oui, bien c'est sûr que c'est difficile présentement. On les voit, les sondages, nous autres ici, là.
Donc, il y a quelque chose de légitime derrière leur démarche.
Ben, on sait qu'il y a des sondages qui donnent certains résultats. Évidemment, ça peut faire peur à certains. Moi, je concentre présentement sur, comme j'ai dit ce matin à une conférence de presse, comment j'ai l'opportunité de travailler sur une plateforme, puis aller auprès des Canadiens pour savoir c'est quoi qu'on a besoin de travailler dessus, puis c'est ce que je suis en train de faire.
Est-ce que vous avez hâte de les entendre demain? Est-ce que vous avez hâte de les entendre? Parce que vous dites, moi, ils m'ont pas parlé, je sais
Ben,
pas.
je pense qu'on va les entendre.
Mais est-ce que vous avez
On
hâte
attend demain,
d'en
ça
savoir
fait 12 jours qu'on en parle.
I can sort of tell you what's going to happen with me tomorrow.
What's going to happen?
Well, I'm going to draw on about 15 years of media experience and 27 years of corporate communication and issues management, and I'm going to do a diagnosis of what's going on and suggest some things that we can do to fix it.
Do you think this letter where people are calling on the Prime Minister to go anywhere, or this group that's trying to see if he will leave, if that's going anywhere, if it's going to materialize tomorrow?
Couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Have you been approached about the letter and if you signed it?
I've spoken to people who have signed it, but no, I haven't seen the letter.
How do you feel about the state of the party right now and your leader?
Well, I think, as I said yesterday, the party is strong in terms of our ability to have respectful conversations over difficult things. You know, you look at the war in Gaza, you know, we have a very large Jewish cohort and a very large Muslim cohort in caucus. And it's difficult, but we've had respectable and respectful conversations, you know, about how things should work. There's no reason to say we won't do the same thing here.
What are your feelings, though, right now about tomorrow, about where things are at?
Well, I think I saw Mark Miller's comments today that, you know, what was going on right now is garbage. And I sort of agree and sort of disagree. I think that the Prime Minister has faced a constant onslaught of garbage since about a month and a half after he became Prime Minister. But that's what we do in Canada, right? That's how we treat leaders of governing parties. So, you know, is there a way out of this? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about tomorrow.
That's the question, I guess, for the Prime Minister as well. How do you wish he would respond?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to wait to see what the response is, and I'll assess that after the fact and not kind of wonder what's going to happen before the fact.
What do you expect from him?
Huh?
What do you expect from him?
Just a hearing. You know, but that's what you know what any of us would hope for. You know, we would get a hearing, and certainly there have been other issues that have been difficult, and we've always had a respectful hearing from him.
For those that you talked to that are part of that letter, we're expecting that some people will go to the microphone tomorrow and express either demands or share their concerns. What do you
really
hear
don't
will be
know.
expressed?
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. All I know is what I'm going to say, but of course I'm going to save that for my colleagues in the room tomorrow.
What % of caucus do you think is on board with trying to get the Prime Minister to step down?
Couldn't tell you. I honestly couldn't tell you. I mean, you have, sidebar conversations, et cetera, but Lord, these conversations have happened in fits and starts for 5 years, You
talk about how you partially but don't partially believe in what Mr. Miller said using the term garbage. So what do you think is positive that's coming out of this, that people trying to push him out, Trudeau out?
Well, I think, first and foremost, what it will be is, I hope, a good airing of the issues as we see it. We're sent here to be the voice of our constituents in Ottawa, not the voice of Ottawa to our constituents. I mean, that's a kind of a catchphrase, but it is true. And so, those of us who, work our communities, keep our ear to the pavement, we'll be able to relay the reality of what's going on. And to be honest with you, in my view, a lot of the reality is garbage. I think Mark Miller is correct in that respect. But okay, it is what it is. What do you do about it? That's really going to be the key thing. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have you seen the letter yet?
What do you think of MPs who want Trudeau to go, the way
letters.
they're approaching this? What do you think of it?
What I think of what?
What do you think of the way that some MPs who want Trudeau to go are approaching this? Talking about there's a letter, they're talking about compliance.
The only thing I know about these letters is what you guys tell me. So, however they approach it is however they approach it. I really got no comment.
How do you know caucus is going to go tomorrow with people trying to push Mr. Trudeau out?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
What do you want to see from the Prime Minister tomorrow during caucus?
Some kind of conversation.
Thank you. Hi, how are you? I'm good. What do you think of this letter and how some MPs, they want Trudeau to go and they allegedly this letter that they've been signing and people are going to come tomorrow?
No one any letters, so I can't yay to it. And I think that at caucus we have in-camera chats. If we have problems, we discuss them and we work out a solution.
Do you still support the Minister and do you think he should stay on for the next election?
I think we'll discuss that at caucus.
Do you support the Prime Minister?
I support him. I think he's done a good job.
Should he lead you in the next election?
I will discuss that at caucus.
Now in the
conversation caucus room, the meeting, you have those remain, and that's what the caucus is meant to have. Those
time for new.
We will have those conversations in the caucus room.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alistair MacGregor. I'm the NDP's public safety critic. I'm here with Peter Julian, our House Leader, and I wanted to talk a little bit about what's been going on at the Public Safety Committee recently. So as you all know, the revelations from the RCMP last week have left Canadians with a lot of questions, and there were some very serious allegations in that RCMP report, notably that India and its agents have been engaging in high-level criminal activity here on Canadian soil, which is directly impacting Canadians, notably South Asian communities. So in response to that, we have been very active at committee. We got unanimous consent for a motion of study into that, but we've also been engaged at committee in trying to make sure that all federal party leaders get the security clearance necessary to receive the briefings so that we can present a united front to our foreign adversaries. As you all know, there is only one federal party leader who is holding out on this, and that is Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party. So what did the Conservatives do to the committee today? Rather than allowing us to proceed with our important work, they filibustered a motion that was quite simple in its request, that we report back to the House a message from the chair that urges all federal party leaders to get the security clearance that is necessary. Now, I know what Mr. Poilievre has been saying. He's been saying that this would gag him, but unfortunately, every single one of his arguments have been completely refuted by top national security experts, both past and present. Let me repeat that. These are former and current members of Canada's national security apparatus and members of CSIS have directly refuted Mr. Poilievre's reasoning. So we're standing here today to say the time is up. Mr. Poilievre has to put the interests of his country before the partisan interests of his party. He needs to get the security clearance. He needs to join other federal leaders in presenting a united front to our foreign adversaries. I'll turn it over now to Peter Julian for French.
Merci beaucoup, Alistair. Peter Julian, leader parlementaire du MPD, et je suis avec Alistair MacGregor, qui est le critique en matière de sécurité publique du MPD. Les révélations du GRC qu'on a vues la semaine passée sont des révélations qu'il faut prendre au sérieux. Qu'effectivement, un gouvernement étranger est impliqué dans des affaires criminelles ici au Canada. Et là, l'MPD prend ça au sérieux. Jagmeet Singh, hier, s'est levé en chambre justement pour mettre en place un comité Canada-Inde. Et Alistair MacGregor, en tant que notre critique, a présenté plusieurs motions pour la sécurité publique. D'une part, d'avoir des réunions d'urgence sur ces questions-là. Et d'autre part, bien sûr, d'exiger de tous les chefs des partis réunis en chambre d'avoir l'autorisation de sécurité. Il y a juste un chef qui n'a pas cette autorisation, et ça, c'est bien sûr Pierre Poilievre, qui refuse systématiquement de prendre cette autorisation de sécurité pour que tous les chefs des partis puissent être sur la même longueur d'onde. La réalité, c'est qu'il faut mettre le pays devant le parti. Puis on a vu avec M. Poilievre et le Parti conservateur un refus systématique d'avoir cette autorisation de sécurité. C'est très inquiétant. M. Poilievre a lancé une argumentation qui est farfelue et qui est contredite par tous les gens qui sont impliqués dans le milieu de sécurité. Alors, au niveau national, il a besoin de cette autorisation de sécurité. On ne comprend pas du tout pourquoi il refuse systématiquement d'avoir cette autorisation. Puis, on va bien sûr continuer d'exiger qu'il a cette autorisation de sécurité. C'est une période où on a une différence énorme avec un gouvernement étranger qui a commis des actes criminels ici au Canada. C'est le temps qu'on se relie ensemble, que tous les chefs du parti prennent des positions responsables. Et ça comprend aussi, bien sûr, que M. Poilievre prend son autorisation de sécurité.
Before I take questions, I just want to add one more thing. Because of the Conservatives' actions at committee this morning, I am going to be asking the House of Commons later this afternoon for unanimous consent. It will be a simple request, and it will simply state that we believe all federal party leaders should receive the security clearance necessary to receive all of the briefings necessary to keep our institutions safe, but most importantly, to make sure that Canadians can have confidence in the election system and in this House of Commons and its members. With that, I'll take any questions.
What is your motion trying to do? Poilievre has been very clear that he doesn't want to take these briefings. You're trying to force him to take it?
We can't force Mr. Poilievre to take briefings. Right now, the questions are, why is he not taking them? I think it's really bad at this moment in time with what our foreign adversaries are doing that we have one political leader who's standing out. And I'll repeat, I read into the record today numerous quotes from former national security advisors to former heads of CSIS. And I know in private conversations that I've had with current serving members of CSIS and the RCMP, every single one of the reasons that Mr. Poilievre has given have been found to be not reasonable and nonsensical. They are not justified in the current context that we are operating in. So we cannot force Mr. Poilievre to get the security clearance. What we are saying is that our country deserves to have a united front given how serious these allegations are, as delivered by the RCMP last week.
The motion the committee's already passed calls for Patrick Brown and any other member, any other candidate in the 2022 Conservative leadership race to be called to testify. Would you want to hear from Mr. Poilievre before this committee?
If he is willing, we can't force a sitting member of Parliament to come before the committee, but certainly if Mr. Poilievre is willing to come before the committee, certainly we'd like to have questions. It's important to remember that in the redacted report, I believe it was in paragraph 73 of the NSICOP report, there is a specific mention of the fact that India was involved in interference in Conservative leadership races, and I think in the preceding paragraph there was mention of China. These are very serious. This is not coming from a partisan political party. These are reports from our national security experts, and I believe we need to make sure that no matter what stage of the political process, whether it's at nominations, leadership contests, or right here in the House of Commons itself, that Canadians have confidence that we're doing everything possible to make sure that we have a robust system in place.
We've seen a number of allegations about foreign interference in Canada. Usually that falls as the responsibility of the government. Why are you focused on the actions of an opposition leader?
Again, I think there's plenty of criticism to go around here, and certainly the government needs to wear some of that. But again, it begs the question as to why we have one holdout remaining, one holdout to present a united front to our adversaries. So I think it's perfectly fine for us to have strong arguments and disagreements in the House of Commons. But with an issue as serious as foreign interference, especially in light of the October 14th report from the RCMP, I think it's incumbent for us to show a united front. And again, every single one of Mr. Poilievre's reasons have been directly refuted by former and current members of CSIS and the national security apparatus. So if Mr. Poilievre thinks his arguments are stronger than those men and women, I invite him to continue making those arguments, and Canadians can decide.
Is Parliament workable? I mean, you're being filibustered at this committee. We're still on day whatever of this privilege motion. Are things working?
I think Canadians expect us to be working. We've said the Liberal government should be releasing the documents, as the House order clearly indicates. We've also said that Conservatives have to stop acting like agents of chaos and stop filibustering their own motion. Canadians expect us to be adults in the room. Certainly Jagmeet Singh is proving that, and I think the NDP caucus every day. We are the adults in the room, and we are suggesting to both of the parties who seem to be finger-pointing back and forth to do the right thing so that we can get back to the business of the country.
Qu'est-ce que vous pensez de l'idée du Bloc québécois d'avoir un super baillon auquel seraient attachés leurs deux projets de loi là, sur la gestion de l'offre et la pension de sécurité de vieillesse?
Mais pour nous, quand je ne comprends pas où le Bloc s'en va. Il semble fixer des dates, fixer des ultimatums sans beaucoup de succès. Puis depuis 5 ans, moi je suis en Chambre, je n'ai pas vu beaucoup de succès du Bloc québécois. Chez l'MPD, bien sûr, on a livré beaucoup de choses pendant la pandémie et aussi maintenant. Si on parle de projet de loi anti-briseur de grève, si on parle des soins dentaires, qui est extrêmement populaire au Québec, presque 700 000 Québécoises et Québécois qui adhèrent déjà. L'assurance médicaments qui a été appuyée par une grande coalition au Québec. Tous ces projets-là sont des résultats concrets de l'ère des députés du MPD. Le Bloc québécois ne peut pas prétendre que les députés du Bloc ont livré des choses et leur ultimatum ne change rien.
Monsieur Julian, juste une question de procédure là-dessus. Quand on fait comme un avis aujourd'hui sur le C-71, that a bill be deemed to be adopted at third stage, etc., est-ce qu'on peut faire une motion pour dire que it's deemed adopted by the Senate as well? Oui, non, hein, c'est ça, c'est juste à la Chambre.
Oui, c'est ça. Le Sénat a ses propres règles.
Oui, c'est ça. Alors, on n'a pas une motion ici, dire que c'est déjà adopté au Sénat. On ne peut pas faire ça.
Non, c'est ça. Puis, en réalité, c'est pour ça qu'on a 2 chambres. Qu'on essaie déjà la position du MPD, on veut abolir le Sénat, mais la réalité, c'est que en Chambre, au Parlement, on peut faire beaucoup de choses, y compris de faire adopter des projets de loi qui ont été bien étudiés pendant quelques minutes. Mais on n'a pas la capacité d'obliger l'autre chambre de prendre des choses.
Le Bloc québécois, quand il dit que sa super motion ferait adopter le projet de loi C-82 au Sénat, il ne peut pas faire ça.
Ils ont dit ça?
Oui.
OK. Là, ça m'intéresse beaucoup de voir la motion, mais...
On n'a pas la motion encore, mais
c'est
super baillon.
Ils ont proposé... OK. Wow. C'est tout ce que je peux dire. Je pense que c'est invraisemblable quand on regarde les procédures politiques et les procédures parlementaires.
Tout ce qu'on peut faire, c'est la 3e lecture.
On peut faire adopter à la Chambre des communes. On ne peut pas lier le Sénat. Je comprends. Peut-être j'ai mal compris qu'est-ce qui est le sens de qu'est-ce qu'il veut faire, mais c'est pas logique et ça ne correspond pas à nos procédures parlementaires.
Is all the turmoil going on in the Liberal caucus, does that make things even more kind of chaotic, problematic here?
Yeah, I mean, the Liberals don't seem rudderless, and they don't seem to have a lot of direction on something like what we're seeing now in the paralysis. I mean, the Conservatives under Mr. Poilievre have acted as agents of chaos now for many, many months. They tried to block all the bills that the NDP brought forward that actually help people, including dental care, which is now more than 750,000 Canadians have benefited directly from the NDP's dental care plan, and Conservatives blocked it. That's not new, but the Liberals not responding to a direct House order, that's a very strange reaction. They need to act like adults. Both the Conservatives and Liberals need to start thinking in the interest of Canadians, and we're certainly hoping that they do that soon.
The motion, the privilege motion that's being debated constantly, the privilege motion that's being debated constantly, you want that to go to committee. What could be done there that would push the thing along?
There's a whole range of things that would happen, that could happen. But I mean, ultimately, the Conservatives should just stop filibustering their own motion.
But in order to achieve the goal of the initial motion,
they should stop filibustering their own motion. Yeah.
I think at committee, what could happen?
At committee, well, that's up to the committee. Yeah. Sorry, we got to go in the House. Thanks.